Charles Louis de Secondar, Baron de la Brede et de Montesquieu. Quite a mouthful. That's a French lawyer, man of letters and political philosopher who lived during the Age of Enlightenment. He coined the phrase separation of powers, a principle on the division of government responsibilities into distinct branches, and in Kenyan context, the legislature, the judiciary and the executive, to limit any one branch from exercising the core function of another. We're now living in interesting times where, judging from some of the statements made by political leaders, our need to protect the sanctity of this principle, it would appear, is no longer certain, as we sit back and watch as the head of the executive and the head of the judiciary engage in public exchanges and outright sparring. Does it worry us that we could be vigorously dancing on the brink? Did we go through a tedious twin referendum to give rise to a new constitution only to trash it because of an election dispute? Or is simply trying hard enough to stretch the establishment just to see how far it can stretch before it can snap? Well, even as we ponder on that, it is time to reset the countdown clock for the repeat presidential election. It is now 33 days to the new date, 26th of October 2017. How much of a difference does a new date portend for the process? NASA, meanwhile, does not seem to appear keen on going down on any of its demands before the fresh poll. In fact, they're now pushing the DPP to prosecute some of the IEBC staff. Will this ever end? The endless shenanigans, even our bees angry at us. And that's how bad it is. My name is Freddy Ndebuli. Welcome to Citizen Extra, the Ballot 2017 edition, where we look at events surrounding the general election of 2017, and now more specifically the repeat presidential election, which will take place on the 26th of October this year. Of course, we do have reporters across the country on location. They will be sampling some of these questions that we are asking. What does it portend for Kenya now that we see the Chief Justice and the President appearing to spar publicly every single day? We do have John Wanyama in Uasin Gishu, Loro Otieno in Kisumu, Asha Bekidusa in Mombasa. Let's start off in Eldoret. We also have Martin Munene in Nyeri County. We'll be sampling some of the views from those ends. We also have a panel in studio and we'll be coming back to that as well. Let's start with John Wanyama all the way in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. A very good morning to you, John. What do the people in Uasin Gishu feel about this sort of sparring between the CJ and the President?
A very good morning to you in Ndimuli and here in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. Residents have their mixed reactions towards this issue, and most of people feel like it's not right for the two to fight, especially the executive and the judiciary, because they need to be there and coexist so that this country can move on. And recently, as in Ndimuli, you remember, the President has been categorically attacking Chief Justice Maraga, that whatever he ruled, he didn't do the favor to the people of Kenya who went to the ballot to vote in last month. And in Ndimuli, residents are saying that others are saying that it's okay, let the president and the ruling that were done by Justice Maraga, it was a ruling, a political ruling. So whatever he's doing is correct, because whatever he ruled in favor of CORD and not Jubilee. And as you know, this is a stronghold for Jubilee, and there is nothing least you can expect from residents here, and apart from maybe agreeing with what the President is saying. Let me talk to residents here to tell us maybe what do they have to say about this issue. Maoni yako ni yapi kuhusiana na uamuzi wa rais ambao tumeona mara nyingi akirusha cheche za maneno kwa Chief Justice?
So kwa majina naitwa Mike. Kwa hii maneno Supreme Court yenye huwa President anazungumzia kila wakati, akiongea akiwa na huzuni sana. Hata mimi sijafurahia juu huyu jamaa Maraga anaongea kwa kiburi sana, na hiyo maneno yenye aliamua wakati wa ruling out sikufurahia, mpaka sasa sijafurahia. Sasa hizi naumia sana kwa hizo ruling ya Maraga, sijafurahia vile. Hata President vile anaongea, President ako sawa, hata mimi na support President. Juu tukiwa wafuasi wa Jubilee tulishinda vizuri sana. 1.5 milioni tulishinda sana hao jamaa naza. So vile huru wanaongea ako sawa. Na sijafurahia maneno ya Maraga, mpaka sasa hivi sijafurahia. Yeah.
Kwa majina naitwa Abraham Brodich. Mimi ni mkazi wa hapa Eldoret. Enyewe tukijaribu kuangalia, although inatuumiza sisi kama wa Kenya, kwa sisi ndio tunakaramia. tungeomba tu president kama ni kuattack another people, waje relax, hiyo story relax tu, waje tukutane kwa debe vile tulikuwa tumeamua, kwa sababu ukiangalia wanachukulia tumeamua kurelax, tuongoje what next sasa, waje tukutane kwa debe, kwa sababu hii maneno mengi, hii historia haiwezi kutusaidia. Waje sisi tu relax, tuendelee na mashughuli zetu, at least ikifika wakati wa debe waje turudi. The only thing yenye ningeomba Raila na timu yake waje wa accept, waache historia kutusungusha kama watoto wadogo. Kama ni baba yetu yenyewe na plan asemanga, wacha relax basi, atupatie time hata sisi wa Kenya, si kesho hivi. Last time walikuwa wamesema tarehe 17, ndio hiyo wamega 24. So unaona wanatusungusha hivi, which means they are not ready for election. Thank you.
Majina naitwa mtetezi wanyonge. Mimi kwa maoni yangu kupande ya Maraga, yeye amefanya ile haki ambayo imeandikwa kwa katiba na ametumia hiyo kipengele ya katiba ambao anasema election haikufuatwa kulingana na sheria ambao walitumisa. So mimi kwa maoni yangu kama mtetezi wanyonge na support Maraga 100% because Maraga anasema election haikufuata procedure ambayo inatakana. Ambao hata sasa hivi tunaongea wamekataa kufungua server, tujue nini iko ndani ya hiyo server. So ile kitu ambayo mimi nasema kama Mkenya, tunataka amani katika nchi because judiciary ikipigana na serikali kuu, sisi wanyonge ndio tunaumia. So tunaomba rais na court, hiyo court ni yake, na yeye ndiye alichagua hiyo watu, akafanywa vetting, akasema hawa wametosa. So kama akapea mamlaka wafanye kazi yao. So sasa ile mbona anafanya kazi yao tena nasema hao ni wakora. So tunaomba rais aheshimu mahakama bila alisikile aliheshimu Mutunga akipea mamlaka. So leo mbona inakuwa imerule but opposite anasema hao ni wakora. So sisi wa Kenya tutaenda kwa nani? Kama tuweze heshimu mahakama tutaenda kwa nani? So hiyo ndio maoni yangu kama. Yeah.
My last person.
Naitwa Robinson. Ni aibu kubwa sana ukisikia executive ina attack mahakama, ina attack to the judiciary, is an attack to justice. This is the first time since time immemorial that the verdict was given in the right way. Na tunaomba hata maabusu wote wenye waliwahi kushikwa kwa njia mbaya waachiliwe, Maraga akiwa, tuanze justice upya, tuanze kufunga watu upya kuliko wale wenye walifungwa kwa ukora na ujambazi. Ni vibaya sana, we are so much disappointed, it's so much disappointing and disgusting for executive to attack the judiciary. Thank you.
In the morning, that is very impossible that we go to the prison and remove those who are maybe not judged well so that we can take another case for them. In the morning, those are some of views from residents here in Uasin Gishu, and we are still following up on this issue. And as you can remember, in the morning, residents are tired. They are saying they are tired of this politics and they want to go to the ballot and ensure that they vote whomever they want to vote. And now that the new date has been set aside for the repeat of the election, residents are saying that let them not again change this date because they want to go on with their businesses and they are losing money in this politics that each and every day is taking the day in the morning.
Thank you, John. John Wanyama there, sampling some of the views from Uasin Gishu County, in specific Eldoret town. Very varied and interesting views to what is happening, the apparent sparring between the Chief Justice and President. Let's get more comments and more views from members of the public. Let's now head to the coastal county of Mombasa. Asha Bekidusa, very good morning. What are people saying from Mombasa with regard to this sparring between the CJ and President?
A very good morning to you, Fred. I'm coming to you live from Mombasa Island, and I'll be joined by some residents of Mombasa who will be giving us their views or reaction concerning the matter, especially in recent days where it has been seen that the judiciary and the executive and especially the president have sort of been engaging in a public spat. And right now I'm joined by one of the residents who will be speaking to us and tell us their views. Nam, tuambie majina yako na hisia zako kuhusiana na huu mgogoro kati ya idara ya mahakama na rais. Ukiwa kwa una manufaa yote kwetu?
Yes, kwa jina naitwa Jamini Simiyu. Mimi kwa upande wangu kitu ambacho naomba kama Mkenya, hii mgogoro ya mahakama na president na upinzani wawache mbali. Madamu IPC imetangaza kwamba uchaguzi nafanya tarehe 26, watu wote wa focus vile uchaguzi naenda kufanywa. Hiyo mambo madogo wawache kando, kwa maana Kenya ni yetu. Nikichambua kidogo kulingana vile jaji mkuu aliamua kesi kuhusu vile ilikuwa aliwacha wa Kenya katika kizani. Kwanza alifanya namna gani? Yeye angeleta kile kitu ambayo inaonyesha kwamba hii uchaguzi pepa fulani na pepa fulani ndio hii na hii na form fulani hii na fulani ndio hizi. Sasa tukikombea hii na ile ambapo sasa hii haina nini? Haifanani. Sasa huko kuonyesha kwamba amewacha watu kwa kisa.
Asante sana. Itakuwa tunajiunga na mkazi mwingine. Naam, tuambie majina yako na hisia zako kuhusiana na huu mgogoro kati ya rais na bila shaka idara ya mahakama.
Asante sana. Mimi ni John Owagesa, ni mpigaji kura wa Kisauni constituency. Mgogoro kati ya rais na mahakama pamoja na IBC Electoral Commission, mimi naona upande wa rais na upande wa IBC ndio wanaleta utata. Maraga alifanya uamuzi kulingana na sheria na katiba iliyopo. Hakuna makosa alifanya. Na Maraga alifanya uamuzi kulingana na ile mashtaka aliyepelekewa na NASA. Bila NASA kuenda kotini, Maraga angetoka kufanya uamuzi. Yeye alipelekewa na akasoma mashtaka na akaona vile ilivyo, akafanya uamuzi. Uamuzi wa busara wa kuweka Kenya pamoja na kupata mwelekeo ya Wakenya. Nao saa hii jana vile rais aliongea analete utata, sababu alilaumu mahakama na akasema hao wana plan coup, ambapo ni lugha mbaya sana ya kugawanya Wakenya. Maraga sasa analaumiwa kwa kazi aliyefanya nzuri, na unajua ufisadi umezidi Kenya. Maraga asipofanya hivyo ufisadi utazidi, na hii ni njia moja ya kupunguza ufisadi. Nikiangalia gazeti na kuna watu wengine walipelekewa IBC wasiugombee uchaguzi wowote kwa sababu wako na kesi kotini ya ufisadi. Walikuwa cleared na IBC. Karibu watu 106. Hii ni kuzidisha ufisadi. Kwa hiyo tungeomba ofisi wa rais awache ofisi wa mahakama ifanye kazi yake. Alafu Kenya itakuwa na mwangaza na tutakuwa na njia nzuri ya kujua Kenya inaelekea wapi. La sivyo Kenya inaelekea mbaya. Tafadhali muache hiyo.
Asante sana. Itakuwa tunajiunga na mkazi mwingine. Na majina yako na hisia zako kuhusiana na mgogoro kati ya afisi ya rais na vile idara ya mahakama.
Mimi najulikana kama Mohamed Seif Zuberi, ni mkazi wa Mombasa. Kulingana na mahakama na rais vile wanazozana sio kitu sawa kama Wakenya tukiangalia. Maraga amefanya kazi yake kulingana na katiba na amefanya kazi safi ambao sisi kama Wakenya tumejivunia kuwa Wakenya, na hatungependa kuvumilia kuwa Wakenya. Tungependa tujivunie kuwa Wakenya, sio kuvumilia rais. Tungeomba rais wetu aheshimu mahakama, na sisi kama vijana tulimpigia kura kama Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, lakini kulingana na vile tunavyoona kila kukicha mambo yanakuwa tofauti na tulivyokuwa tunamdhania, sisi hatuna imani na kupiga kura kwa rais tena. Tunaona tunajiunga na vyama vingine, tuone Kenya yetu ikiwa na msimamo bora.
Asante sana. Bila shaka tutakuwa tunajiunga na mkazi mwingine wa mwisho hapa, tueleze maoni yako na majina yako na kuhusiana.
Anaitwa Charles. Mimi naangalia vile uamuzi ulifanywa na mahakama, ulifanywa sawa kabisa. Lakini vile rais anajaribu kulaumu mahakama, shida ni kwamba opposition walileta mashtaka na hawakusema kwamba masanduku yahesabiwe. Sasa ule mkono amechukua kwamba wahesabu masanduku ama ballot papers haikuwa katika ile petition ya NASA. Kwa hivyo tunasema kwamba rais awache kulaumu mahakama, na kama wangekuwa wanataka masanduku yahesabiwe wangefanya application pia masanduku yao ipate kuhesabiwa. Kwa hivyo tunaomba kwamba serikali iheshimu mahakama, kwa sababu mahakama kazi yake ni kufanya kila mtu Mkenya amepata haki, na tungependelea hii haki ifanywe, kwa sababu uchaguzi ambao unaokuja watu wanahesabu mpaka masanduku.
Thank you very much. As you've heard, Fred, there are mixed views from 190 here in Mombasa. But all in all, what they want is that they want the president to respect the judiciary and also the vice versa, because they say that if there's no respect among those two key institutions, then Kenya will be heading nowhere. Back to you over in studio, Fred.
Thank you, Asha. Asha Bikadusa there, sampling some of the views of residents from Mombasa County this morning with regard to the apparent sparring between the CJ and the president. Let's view some more. Let's now head out to Nyeri County. Martin Munene, our reporter there. What is the feeling in Nyeri with regard to this particular question?
Indeed, like you said, you're getting us live from Nyeri County, and residents here are excited about the fact that IEBC has set a new date, and like they're saying, it falls on the day that the president was born, and people are saying in Nyeri County that they're going to gift the president with their vote that particular morning. But also, people in Nyeri are following keenly the development between the president and the Chief Justice, with the president saying that what happened was a judicial coup, and the feeling here is that the president is right, and that the Supreme Court overstepped its mandate, and they feel that it went ahead and actually abolished what was, they say, that was a win for President Uhuru Kenyatta. And with me today is one of the community leaders here, Bishop Wanjohi, a man who's been involved in a lot of peace projects, especially before the election, just giving us a feel of what the feeling is on the ground, not just as a resident but also as a leader. Bishop Wanjohi, kindly, if you can just come here and kindly just look at the screen, just help us understand what is your take on the standoff between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the Chief Justice. Do you think that it is healthy?
I think my take as a spiritual leader is that the Bible allows us to get angry at some point, and a president, despite the point that he is the father of the nation, he is subject to anger. But the most important thing is the way he said, I have accepted the verdict of the court, and the verdict of the court is that the elections that we did on 8th of August were nullified, and despite the many things that he said, the bottom line is this: he is willing to go back to lead the nation, to giving us another election, and that is the most important thing. But the issue of anger, I would just request that we take it that he's a human being just like any one of us, but he has told the nation, we go back to the election. Electoral Independent Commission have set a date, and this is an electoral body that is very independent. Let's all prepare ourselves, and we go back to the ballot. We go back to the ballot, and we demonstrate the love for our nation. That would be my take.
All right, Bishop. The president yesterday spoke and said that the Supreme Court, what the Supreme Court did was annul the victory that he had, and actually he said that it was a judicial coup. Do you, as a leader and as a resident of Nyeri, support the president in this?
I will go back to my statement that some of the things that he said were based on anger. But if he feels that he legitimately won the election, he is justified to use any manner of words to express his outburst. But the truth of the matter is this: the judiciary is an independent arm of the government, and what it did was justified because there are those things that they looked at. And I would just tell the president, kindly, as you said, we go back to the ballot. Let the decision, let what people did be vindicated on 26th of November, of October.
All right, and maybe finally, the new date that the IEBC has set. Are you comfortable with it, and are you ready to go back and actually exercise your democratic right to vote? Sorry.
The law of the Lord has allowed the IEBC to set the date and to observe the way we shall vote, and also to do the tallying. So ours, as good citizens, and even as a church, my prayer would be, let us support what the chairman said. Let us give them all the support on 26th of October. Let's all go out in our large numbers. Let us do exactly what we did in the previous time. And you think like what you did, you want to change, you have another chance, because a second chance gives us an opportunity to do something better, even in a better way than we did it previously.
All right. All right, thank you very much, Bishop. That is the feeling of the Bishop and the feeling of Nyeri people. And I must say that yesterday evening, after the IEBC said that they have moved the date to 26th, we actually saw caravans of vehicles across the town, with people telling people that the date has been changed and urging them to actually come out in large numbers and vote. And I must emphasize that Nyeri County has been seen as a Jubilee zone, and so we saw a lot of vehicles branded with President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputies' portraits, and the message was simple: come out and vote, come out and support President Uhuru Kenyatta. And of course we will be keeping you up to speed with what is happening here in Nyeri County. Back to you in studio, Fred. I am Martin Monene.
Thank you, Martin Monene, coming to us live from Nyeri County, of course, sampling some of the views from residents of Nyeri with regard to this issue that we're tackling today. How healthy is it, the kind of sparring we are seeing or witnessing between the President and Chief Justice, two arms of government appearing to be at war, or at least at cross paths? Let's now get to listen to some of the things that the heads of these two arms of government have said in the recent past. Let's start off with Chief Justice David Maraga.
The petition before us was however simple and to the point. It was obvious to us that IEBC misunderstood it, hence it jumbled up responses and submissions. Our judgment is also simple and, in our view, clear and understandable. It ought to lead IEBC to a soul searching and to go back to the drawing board. If not, these courts, wherever called upon to adjudicate on a similar dispute, will reach the same decision if the anomalies remain the same, irrespective of who the aspirants may be. Consistency and fidelity to the Constitution is an unwavering commitment this court makes.
Mimi nimesikia maajabu jamani. Things I cannot believe I can hear in a democratic nation. Mambo yale yote wa Kenya walikataa wakati walijipatia katiba mpya. Wengine sasa wamejipatia mamlaka ya kutisha wenzao, kusema hata mkienda kuamua tena, mkirudi bado nitaamua vile nitataka. Ai. Wenzangu, yani sisi zote hatuna haja. Nyinyi wote ambao tunajua vile tulitembea kwa muda wa karibu miezi 6 tukiomba wa Kenya watupatie kura, mumeambiwa ya kwamba hiyo sio haja, hiyo sio neno, mimi ndio mwenyewe. Do you really believe that that was the meaning of our Constitution? Was that really?
Was that really the meaning of the Constitution? Wow, very heavy questions being asked there. In studio this morning, I'm joined by, let me start off with the only lady on the panel, Sandra Ochola, analyst. Karibu sana. Good to see you, Sandra. It's been a while. We also do have Charles Kipkulei. Thank you. Professor George Wajakoya and Bwana Ken Ambani, analyst. Karibuni sana. This is a very serious topic, and I think it's probably different from the ones we've discussed before. Is this the first time we're seeing such, not really difference in opinion, this, let me call it even grandstanding between the judiciary and the executive, the leadership of the executive and the leadership of the judiciary, seeming to be sparring in Africa? I'm asking, is this the first instance we are seeing such a thing in Africa? And has it happened anywhere else? Let's start with you, Bwana Kenambani.
Let me start by saying that in Africa, we are the trailblazers. But in the world, it has happened in other jurisdictions. For example, in India, between that period of 1975, when the judiciary had to rein in the executive. And basically what informs this is that the Indian government had to restore sanity and respect of the separate arms of government through their epistolary orders. And basically they were looking at what the father of separation of powers had said, Montesquieu, the French lawyer, French philosopher, who actually reigned on issues on democratic governance, so that we have the three arms of government as being independent from each other, however working in a coordinated manner. So what we are seeing now in the Kenyan context is the judiciary asserting itself by insisting that their duty is to uphold the law, to reinforce the law. Where other institutions of government may want to trample on the law, they are restating the sovereignty of the people by ensuring that they are keeping the fidelity of the law, because that is the rubric upon which a country is set.
Okay. Professor Jakoya, probably on that same Indian context, when the executive and the judiciary clash, like we are seeing here, probably, I'm sure as a legal scholar you understand what happened in India. What are the possible consequences?
First of all, thank you very much. I was giving a lecture at the University of Havana in Cuba 2 weeks ago on the same issue at the law school where Fidel Castro took his law degree. And if I may revisit the words of my friend Ken Ambani, I would rather start it this way. It was not in 1975, it was in 1971, when the executive usurped power of the Article 1 of the Indian Constitution, which stated very categorically that every Indian person, wherever he is, he has a remedy in Article 1 when there is a usurpation of power. In this case, the Indian government had allowed the Americans, or the American companies, to come and take over without consultation part of Kerala, without popular participation by the people of Kerala, without popular consultation by the people of Kerala, without popular and the stereo consideration of the people of Kerala. So Justice Bhagwati came up very clearly and he said that whoever tampers with Article 1 of the Constitution of India, the courts will be abrogated and they will take over. And from that particular time, we have had what we call social active litigation, where we have divided the role of opinion of judges into the red line and the green line, all of it subject to judicial review. And let me not go into academia.
But you've said something, when you say that the judiciary took over the role of the executive, what does that mean?
What that means is that there was usurpation of power by the executive, similar to what is happening in this country today, whereby the people of India were like getting orders that were not sanctified by the Constitution, and they had nowhere to go. The only place they would seek a remedy at that particular time was the Supreme Court of India. And the Supreme Court of India came up very clearly and it said that if there is any person aggrieved by the role of the executive, please come to me through what my friend said, epistolary. You can, epistolary letters. You can either write to me, that is epistolary, you can call, you can jump on rickshaw, or any other person who sees the wrong being done can come and petition the Supreme Court of India, and the Supreme Court of India will stay whatever orders that have been passed by the executive, to look into it and then prescribe. And that's actually what has happened in South Africa. South Africa being the only country in Africa that has constituted validation of the Constitutional Court, whereby if any mess like we have today comes out, the South African court will stay any decision made in Parliament for 6 months for it to look into it and prescribe. Now, coming to what you said, when it comes to issues of the Constitution produces what we call an arc, and it stays on top. Here's the Chief Justice, and here's the president. Both of them are actually archived in the Act of the Constitution. And none of them has any legitimate authority by coercion, by implication, by fabrication, has any legitimate authority to abuse the other, unless everything is cited and served amicably. In which case the president has no authority in law. The president is the emblem of justice in this country. He has no authority to come out and now start addressing another arm of the government in the manner that he has done. That actually puts us into a very risky situation. And if you see the Americans, if you see the British saying that Kenya is no-go area today, it's because of those kind of pronouncements.
Yes. And when Charles Kipkule, now, as Professor Jakoya says, it puts us at risk. Two arms of government appear to be at loggerheads. That's the President and Supreme Court. Where do we go next from there? Because who else do we turn to in such a case?
Well, thanks, Fred. I think from the comments of Professor, I think I'm closely tending towards becoming a learned person because we are learning here. So I think where we need to go as a nation, first of all, is to acknowledge the fact that we are a divided country. And that part of the problem we are experiencing is because of the platforms with which we perceive issues. Politics, we take positions on even the Constitution. You could have seen from a sampling of opinions across the country, there are different sets of opinions. Because the lenses with which we look at things is that lens of identity politics. And then that's the issue of personality-based politics. So what we need to do, first of all, as a country, is to reconfigure that perspective. But going forward, we have a constitution that we gave unto ourselves, and there is someone say that I may disapprove of what you say, but I'll defend to death your rights to say it. So when you saw the Supreme Court pronouncing itself on the petition, the President was not happy. But there is something that is common from his utterances this year and 5 years ago when Raila Odinga was aggrieved by the decision of the court. They said we disagree with the courts, but we respect them.
Yes.
So that is something that we really need to amplify more than these personal feelings of aggrievement, because at the end of the day, there is a problem. So going forward, what we need to do as a country is look at our constitution, because it is around 7 years old. The new constitution, that there probably could be some gaps that were not anticipated because we made a constitution at a time when we were coming from a regime that we felt was not, the democratic space was not open enough. So this is an opportunity for us as a country to enhance this space, and if need be, and through a national-led process, a unified process, enhance the processes, probably even through legislation, just reforms that we speak about. That is the way forward.
You're talking about a review, and the suggestion, even the President said yesterday that what the judiciary did was akin to a judicial coup. Are we saying that the new constitution has given the judiciary too much powers that need to be reversed?
I wouldn't say too much. I wouldn't say too much power. It's just given better platforms for all the three arms of government to interact. And from what we are seeing, this is not anything new, because we've seen that a couple of years ago when we were having the debates on the Security Amendment Act. It was also more or less the same scenario. And for me, what I appreciate about what's going on is that we are at a point in our history or in our times where the judiciary is more vocal. There is more confidence within the institution that I can make decisions and I'm able to speak without any fear of retribution. My misgiving, however, is that as a country, we are too political for any social good. Because the analogy I have of what's going on, it's more of a discussion between attack and critiquing a judgment. Assuming we are in a class environment, we are all sitting an exam. And so Charles, whether he's read for that exam or not, when the teacher approaches him, he says, "Sir, I intend to get 100 in this paper. So I'd better get 100 in this paper, and this is an opportunity for you to do something great as a teacher." The difference now, once he's gotten the paper, and then now he moves on later and says, I worked hard for this particular exam, but now the teachers come back with a result of 50, But then looking at the paper again, I think I got 70. Now that is critique. You say what I intended to get, you went wrong here, you went wrong here. You should have done better in this and this question. And then now you are allowed, which again is going to be controversial in this instance. Then now you are allowed, in the event that you discussed with this teacher and he's refused to see things from your perspective, you are allowed to take the matter further, either to the head teacher and say, given what I have seen, this teacher has discriminated against me and this has not happened as per my expectation. So I think we really need to look through and agree on the definitions of what is attack and threatening the independence of the judiciary, and what is critiquing a judgment of the judiciary. And then bottom line is there is need for tolerance across the board, be it from the opposition party, be it from the executive, and be it from the judiciary. Because one of the things we are seeing right now is a lot of hypocrisy even within the public sphere. So that when my candidate says it is okay. When another candidate says it is very wrong. So that we need to stop being too political for any social good. We need to be true to the Constitution and see things from a view of where are we heading to, or where do you want to head to moving forward.
Yes, and of course, just even as the discussions are continuing, I noticed Bwana Simba Arati, MP Dagoretti North, also a very staunch supporter of NASA leader Raila Odinga, joined the panel. Karibu sana Mheshimiwa. It would be good to hear your views on this issue. And where did we start getting it wrong? Because yes, back in the day, and I'm glad I'm old enough that I saw the days of KANU, and when the president had sweeping powers across all arms of government, the legislature, the judiciary, because the appointments were direct appointments from the president, even for the Chief Justice, then things did change. After 2002, the next 10 years, a lot changed, and we started having some form of respect, some form of trust in the judiciary, and it grew, because it didn't just grow in a day. It took quite a while to what changed, Bwana Simba Arati? How come now we are looking at the judiciary through political lenses? And this is from across the political divide, because there are those who support the judiciary simply because they come from one side, and those who are against it simply because they support the other person.
You know, I've just seen the president suffering from the hangover of the past dark days. You know, the president is also a student of a past regime, Moi regime. Now that you want to remind us that he has the powers. Now, if you're a man enough, you don't go around in the streets, even when you're seducing ladies, to tell them that, you know, I'm a man around here. You need to know that. The president, what he has to realize that the provisions and the powers that he has, they're derived from the Constitution. He can't do anything outside the Constitution. Otherwise, every Kenyan will oppose an attempt for the president to try and do his own things. What we are seeing here, there is a teacher, there is a lady who was given an analogy here of a teacher. These are like, and I like what the Deputy Chief Justice said. You know, the mathematics, if you're resolving a mathematical problem, you don't only come to say you've gotten it right because you've written the right answer, the process. Otherwise you'd have copied from your neighbor, your classmate, that answer, so that if those marks adds up to what you are supposed to have answered. Therefore the president, he needs to realize, yes, we know that he has the powers. He has the powers to be the president of the country. But what we want to tell him is that the powers, they're confined in the Constitution, and he can't operate outside the perimeters of the... You know, what he was saying, I saw the document, I had a privilege to have a document where the president was talking about the coup, the judicial coup, where his own advisors, all his team must have taken through what the civil societies, they're saying is the civil societies who are trying to remove legitimate government from power. I want to tell him, if indeed President Uhuru won the elections, he would have been pushing for the arrest of those people who messed up his election. For us today to know that yes, President Uhuru indeed is annoyed because of the bungled elections, and what he would have done, he would be pushing the likes of Chiloba, who messed up, that now is not the president. He has forced us to go to an election.
He is still the president.
Of course, until 26th.
Yes, but
otherwise, we'll celebrate his birthday as we are sending him home on 26th. You know, therefore, what we are saying is that the president needs to understand clearly that he has his own country to think that he can invest powers to rule as he wants. This is a democratic country that he needs to understand that he has to operate within the laws.
Yes. But Mbani, even away from the politics, there must be a risk involved with the kind of fights, let me call them fights, we are seeing. Because it's verbal sparring, yes, in public. These are public exchanges. They're not made in private. They're not made in formal writing. The CJ calls a press conference all while delivering a judgment. It's somewhere in public, president addressing a gathering at State House or making an address to the nation, then throwing a barb at the judiciary. There must be a risk involved in this, because we as Kenyans, we simply sit back and watch, and of course all of us through the lenses of our political alignments, but there must be a real risk that is not just simply political.
Well, Fred, what I can say about this is that one may want to remind His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya that he's the symbol of unity for this country, and therefore he needs to comport himself, to carry himself in a manner that shows that he's the father of the nation. Number two, he should know he's the custodian of the institution of the presidency, and therefore he's a human being. He's allowed to ventilate. However, at what point does he cease to be human and be the president as a uniting symbol? That is one of the questions that one may want to ask the president to look at. These outbursts end up now portraying the president to be flirting with autocracy. We are way past the era of autocracy. And therefore, he is even giving the opposition further to pound him more if he's aggrieved. And if his lawyers advise him well, there is judicial remedy to these issues.
Where can he turn?
One of the lawyers, I'm not a lawyer, however, I think there is a way they can handle this thing as a review to what happened. And before they exploit that, the judiciary pronounced itself very clear on this matter. What he should be focusing on is to be mopping up his followers in a manner that is persuasive, not threatening, and addressing other Kenyans in a very condescending way. Because even the people who may have voted the president the other time, when they look at him carry himself in that manner, he's repulsing his would-be votes.
But that's looking at it politically. The question is, even legally, do we have any remedy when these arms of government squabble? For example, if the judiciary and the legislature are at loggerheads, where do we turn? That's the kind of risk I'm looking at. Where do we go from here, where the president and the judiciary seem to have a problem? Professor?
I'll borrow a leaf from the American jurisprudence, where we have what we call the Lewinian theory. This is a theory which says that law is not law. Law is not law until there is a complainant. Law is not law until it's tested by the powers of the court. And it's up to the courts to look at the approved and decide or adjudicate on a decision. And if that decision is adjudicated by the Supreme Court of the United States, then that law is overturned. That's number one. Number two, there is the parliament. And Honorable Rati, thank you. I didn't say hi to you. The role of parliament is very, very clear. That if the Supreme Court of the land prejudicates on a matter not conducive to the environment of the country, then the parliament can legislate on that law and overturn it, and then come up with the legislation to replace what has been said in the Supreme Court. Now, for the president, if I was advising the president on the question that you have asked me, there are so many ways that he could come out of this. There are so many ways that he can address this. I'll tell the president to go the Kibaki way. Calm down and go silent. And then I'll let my juniors or other people to speak on my behalf. I'll take a low tone and walk into the masses, a changed man, change direction. Instead of coming out lethal, I'll come out in a persuasive way. My appearance, my way of speaking, my way of engagement, and depending on who I'm engaging. That is likely to change the rhetoric, turn around the rhetoric and say, well, even though the president has done ABCD, look at him. And I'll give an example. On the election day, I and Kamau Munywa were actually covering the 2013 election. And during that debate, Raila Odinga made a claim that if Uhuru is indicted in The Hague, he will actually be ruling by Skype. And the body language of the president changed, and he was like, you guys, you are taking me to the gutters, and I'm here. And he looked at Raila this way. That demeanor won him sympathy from the whole nation, because he was like a person who had been put into a cage ready to be slaughtered. So if I was advising the president, I would say, look, it's not a big deal here. Don't go rhetoric. Change your attitude, change your tactics, and come in and go it this way. But now, coming to the issue of whether there is any judicial remedy, there is no judicial remedy, because one, the president's power is curtailed. He can no longer sign any legislation. Two, Parliament cannot debate on anything because the country is under siege. He doesn't have a legitimate president other than an acting president. And finally, there's no any other option other than changing tactic and going into persuasive way.
So it is purely political. There's nowhere else we can go beyond this.
Fred, I think as we discuss this, what we need to know is that all sovereign power belongs to the people, and even all of these three arms of government, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive, exercise these powers as donated by the people. So ultimately, the people are the final sovereign. And when things get to a point where we feel that we are at loggerheads as a country or at crossroads, then reference should go back to the document and the laws that govern us, which is our constitution, which says that all power belongs to the people. So I'd want I'm not a scholar in law, but my basic understanding of the law, which I think is the truth, is that at this moment, the Constitution is clear on the powers of the President, because I think what we have, the challenge of our politics is this profiling based on the individual. We look at the President and see Uhuru Kenyatta, not the President. Therefore, that forms prejudice. So there is a responsibility for everybody, whatever station you hold in leadership, in academia, or whatever, that we need to be truthful to the nation and tell Kenyans that we have a president in this country. That is the law. And unless the court pronounce itself otherwise, then there is a president. We may not like him, he is the president of our country. And I think one of the other things that we need to look at is that whereas President Uhuru Kenyatta has variously been aggrieved, he has submitted himself to the same law. He said, I do not agree with the ruling, but I respect it. And further, he has said, let's go back to the elections as the courts have ordered. So there are some things, positives, that we need to draw out, because when we continue profiling leaders to the extent that we legitimize them in the face of the people, we become agents of division of our country. So that at the end of the day, we lose even, we legitimize the people based on prejudice, whereas the law grants them, even the ruling of the court said, we find no culpability on the part of the third respondent. So one of the things we need to is let's practice political and even legal hygiene, that we say the truth irrespective of the position that we may have, even politically. That way we can only move as a nation. And finally, I think just to, I've realized just for the trend that I need to say something. When going back to the views that Kenyans have been giving, that division that is arising is because, as I said earlier, we are a divided country. And in as much as we may disapprove the feelings or the perceptions of other people, there is this principle that not only must justice be done, but it must be seen as having been done. So what do we do to these people who feel that they are aggrieved? the recourse goes back to the people. So my overriding thing is the will of the people. We go back to the people and they exercise their sovereign duty. We elect the leaders, and the institutions charged with ensuring that we have the electoral management body must be put to task to deliver a good election that is credible, so that we do not lose the will of the people in all of this saga that we are experiencing as a country.
Yes, and just before we go on a break, Sandra, anything to add on that?
I'd say my saving grace, and I believe even that of millions of Kenyans, is the Constitution. Because whoever is at the helm, be it at the judiciary, be it within the National Assembly, or even at the executive, he or she can vent as much as they want. But they are restrained as to what extent they can go with their anger, with their actions, by the Constitution. So Maraga has a right to vent in his own way, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Uhuru Kenyatta has the same view. Members of Parliament have the same right. But then the line is crossed only when they seek to act upon those emotions to violate the Constitution. And then another thing that I think we have to keep in mind that a leader, once he's vying for office or once he gets an office, is not divorced from his personality. He's still a human being, as you said. He's still a person, formed with certain perceptions and persuasions. And so we used to see this with someone like Mwai Kibaki. He was a little reserved and laid back. So that in such instances, you wouldn't see him making noise. He'd be more detached, if I may. And that was, from what I read, that was his personality. And you find then at that particular time, people are like, oh, he's so soft, he doesn't do anything, he needs to be more vocal. Now we have, at this particular time, we have a different personality, someone who's more outspoken, someone who's more expressive, and that is what you're seeing. So even come 2022, 2027, we are going to have very many different, a basket of different emotions. But like I said, they are allowed to express themselves. The red line is, do not violate the Constitution.
So the only saving grace is indeed the Constitution. Yes. Questions abound, questions arise. If Kenyatta wins this repeat elections, do you think he will entertain the continued stay of Maraga as Chief Justice? If he loses, do you think he will seek redress in that same Supreme Court? And do you think the President would want part of his legacy to be that he reversed some of the gains made when we promulgated the new Constitution? That is the discussion after the break.